everybody, CW here. Let's talk about a target. I did video this on the range, but I didn't like the footage. I didn't like how it came out. There was a lot of guys there, and there was a lot of talking, and I thought I was in speedy mode when I was not in speedy mode because I was being distracted. So I just kind of threw it all away. I figured we'd just do it on the bench. You've all seen me shoot. You've seen everybody shoot. It doesn't need to be. So let's just go over real quick, because I got to shoot both of these bullets. These are the new Sierra Pro Hunters in 45 caliber 260 grain and 35 caliber 155 grain for the Legend and for the Bushmaster. So let's talk about these real quick. I showed you the bullets. I guess I should show them to you really quick here too. So they look very, very similar. They're both a round nose flat point design. They're designed to feed through semi-autos, and they're a little bit light for caliber. You know, 155 in a 35 caliber is a little bit light, and a 260 in a 45 is also a little light. But that's what we got to work with, right? And it's a Pro Hunter Sierra, so it's a good name. They've been great for years. I'm hoping that they carry on their goodness into these two bullets. And for powder, I chose 11 FS from Accurate. Now, you may not be familiar with it. FS is a flash suppressant powder, and 11 is just what they call it, but it's pretty close to H110. Do not supplement the data from H110. I'm just telling you, burn rates, it's close. You look at the amount of powders that it uses for that little bit of data that's out there, and it's close to 296 H110. Do not use that data. Use the data you're supposed to. You can find the data in the new Hodgdon manual, the new magazine one. You can find it in there for some calibers. So, I did those two calibers. So let's start out with the Legend. And it's a little bit confusing because it didn't shoot to the same point of aim. And I anticipated that. So instead of going, like we normally do, bang, 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 right along, and you can follow it, I did up here in the middle of the paper with the first one. You see number 1. Because I didn't know where it was going to hit, and I wanted all this paper to catch the bullets. And it hit here. So this is 100 yards. This is the Ruger American Bolt. You've seen the firearm. It's in the Magpul chassis, Magpul stock. And it's got a 3 to 18 power Magpul Gen 3 scope on it. Really nice, really nice scope. New reticle. The center dot is a little on the big side. It covers this. So it's 2.5 inches. I don't have a tape measure here. I should have a tape measure on this bench, and I don't. But it's 2 inches. Let's see, what do we got? Quarters? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, it's 2 inches. 2 inches. That's a 2-inch circle. So that dot covers a little more than 2 inches at 100 yards. Zoomed in, it's a first focal plane. So zoomed in to 18 power, it's a little more than 2 inches. So not precise aiming for this caliber. It's perfect. It's fine. And the fact that it's a little bit larger is actually a good thing, because when it's down on lower powers, you can still see it enough to hunt with it, which is my complaint about a lot of first focal plane scopes to use for hunting. The reticle gets lost on the lower powers, and hunting around here is closer range scenarios, so you're not on the upper powers, you're on the lower powers. Back to the target. So here's the first group, and we're looking at, I should have measured it before we get out here, but we're looking at 1.5 inches. Quarter-inch grid. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, almost 6. So 1.5 inch group. Virtually almost 1.5 inches. By high, we got a half. So we got 1.5, 2.5, 3.5, 4.5, 5.5. So 5. So it's 1 3/4 by 2 inch group. Second group, and the velocity was about 2350. So a little bit low for a 155, 16-inch barrel. A little bit low, but not awful. In the ballpark. Load number 2, clocked average 2370, and we got about the same maybe a little worse accuracy. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So right at 2 inches. So just a little bit worse accuracy. Number 3, velocity is up to 2390. We're getting closer. And our group's tightened. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, inch and a half. But vertical string. Horizontal string over here, but vertical string over here. Number 4th group, we pushed it up to 24. It was actually a little more than this, but I forgot to check the average. But I quickly in my head, I remember seeing 2411, and I thought I saw a 2396, 98. It's hard to read. You've seen the videos. It's hard for me to read that. So I'm just guessing at this one. I did not average it, but it doesn't matter. It's right around 2400. And for a group size, we've got 2 in 1 hole virtually, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So an inch and a half group. And then number 5, velocity made a big jump. You notice over here it was just a little bit, 50, 60, 70, 20 feet per second, 70, 80, 90, 20 feet per second, and then just 10 feet per second over here, but it could be a little higher. So say 10, 15 feet per second. But over here we jumped a full 50 feet per second. So those, when the velocity jumps up or down or changes drastically, that tells you something. You're hitting some kind of node. You're hitting something that's working or not working. Something's happening, and we can see the accuracy. And this is not a 3-shot group that way. If I fix the tear, you can see that it's actually 1, 2, 3. So it's a little bitty 1, 2, 3 squares. So it's 3/4 of an inch group. We shrunk more than half, 3/4 of an inch, and we're at 2450. I would like to see this closer to 25, but it is only a 16-inch barrel. So 2450 with a 155 isn't atrocious. I could run with that. So I'm going to load some more of these. Again, this is a spot in time, 3 shots. It shows us that there's potential there. It doesn't tell us that that's how good it's going to be. So you need to have more. So we're going to load up some more at that load and shoot them and prove it. Shoot some 5-shot groups, shoot some 10-shot groups, and see what it gets. And then we stepped up to a little more powder. Velocity only come up about 15 feet per second average. And you see we're back up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 inch and 3/4 group. So by far this is the best one. Again, this is the Ruger American bolt action 16-inch barrel, the ranch model, with a Sierra 155 with the ladder load of number 11 FS powder. So that we're going to work with that, whatever that load was, and you're going to have to do it for yourself. I'm not going to give you the load because that wouldn't be safe. But look it up in the manual and make your own ladder and do some testing. You can see what difference it makes. This is I want to say I did about 3/10. That's usually what I do. 3 to 5/10 different jump. I start the starting load and go up either half a grain, 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 or 3/10 or 4/10 or whatever I like, whatever it works out to. So that's the Legend. Let's look at the Bushmaster. This one's velocity was low, I thought. I had the same problem. This was the first load, and again I shot this out of the paper. And by the way, I love these targets. They're 17 by 25. I got them on Amazon. It's just thin paper. It's nothing really special, but it's a good size because when you're first doing loads, shots, you don't know where it's going to be. And if you got a bunch of holes in the tape paper backer from everybody else, it's hard to find your bullets. So having a big piece of paper to start out is nice, and it gives you 5 targets and room for more. You could shoot at these points. When you're working up actually load, you could shoot here and here, here and here. There's 4. Here and here, here and here. There's 4 more. And you could shoot out on this bar. And then you got these. You could shoot the corners of these. So you got a lot of potential targets, aiming points to shoot at. So we got extra superfluous holes here, and it's because these targets, and I'll show and prove it to you right here. This target was over here on the backer board. See how these bullets line up? See these 3 bullets and these 3 bullets? They're the same. This went right over this like that. That's where it was stapled. So I wrote this Thrifty Legend disregard. And over here on this side, these are 3006 holes. disregard. And this was a purposeful shot. I shot there with one bullet just to see if how far off I was going to be. And this is a group down here that was purposeful with a different load in the 06 just to see what it would do. And again, it's 2-inch group, so nothing. Let's get back to the Bushmaster. So my first group was aiming here and hit down here. So I worked with it. I did not change the scope setting because it's sighted in with some other ammo. And I'm only proving groups. So what we got here, we've got 1.5 inches. 1.5 inches by 1.25 inches. Not too great. 1860. Low. A 250 grain bullet. I've got a load. Now it's probably more than factory, but it's a 260 grain copper bullet going 2350. So this is a 260 grain bullet, the same weight, only going 1860. So I'm pretty low in velocity. First load, second load, bad. 1, 2, 3, 3-inch group, pretty bad. Third group, we got up to just over 1900 feet per second, and we're about 1.5 inches. So not great, but much better. And then the fourth group was over here, and it's about 4 inches. 3.5, 4 inches. 1, 2, 3, 3.25 inches. Not great. That's all I loaded for those. It was just a quick load because for this one, I was using my own data. But I had no pressure signs, but it did shoot low, obviously because of the velocity. And I didn't write the velocity down on this fourth one, but it wasn't spectacular. We were 19 with load number 3, and I believe these were half grain jumps. So generally speaking, with a high pressure cartridge that's around 50,000 PSI, which this is not, you get about 40 feet per second per inch. This is about a 30,000 PSI pressure with this cartridge. And we're only looking at a 16-inch barrel. So we're going to be down quite a bit anyway from what the book says, because the books generally are not dealing with such a short barrel. And generally speaking, you're not getting 40 feet per second per inch. You're getting probably 25-ish feet per second per inch. So if this was 20-inch barrel data from the manual or 22-inch barrel data, you can immediately subtract, let's just say 20 feet per second-ish per inch. So if your data in the book for the 450 Bushmaster was on a 24-inch barrel and you got a 16, that's 8 inches. So 20 feet per second about per inch. So 8, 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, 20, 40, 60, 160 feet per second less. So if you were loading 2350, you're down 2200, just under 2200 for your load estimate, which you get for a maximum load. So taking that into consideration, let's just say it's 1925, 1910, it's still low velocity, and the accuracy is awful. This gun will shoot with the load that it likes, which I don't remember the powder. It might be little gun. I don't like little gun, but it might be little gun that I was shooting with a 245 grain Hornady Spire Point bullet. I believe I was up 2,400 feet per second, and it's there's like 5 shots in that. Not counting that one, just like that. So inside an inch. So the gun will shoot. We just got to work on it a little more. But like I said, no pressure. So there we go. 15 minutes almost talking just about bullet holes in paper. So there we go. I like the bullet. We're going to work some more with it. 2 calibers. There we go. Give it a try. It's nice powder. You can find data for it. I'm going to work with 300 MP next, which is another powder that's very close burning rate to this one. And there's only data out there for like 57 mag and stuff like that. So I don't know if it's going to work in the 450, but I think I can make it work in the Legend. I got to find data. So we'll see what we find. God bless everybody. CW out.